Motor outdoors, here we come. Motor outdoors, here we come.
You good?
I'm good.
All right. Welcome to Border Outdoors Podcast. I'm Mac.
I'm Tim.
I'm Scott.
And we have
I'm Derek.
Derek Butcher. What was your first name?
Dylan?
Derek.
Oh, this is Derek. I'm gonna write that down.
Tim is literally
I'm the
writing
other
it down. I was just gonna say.
You're the good looking one?
I don't know about that.
so
I don't think
Derek,
there's a bad looking one.
well, when we had Dylan on last week and we are doing the pork butts and all that stuff, and I said something about doing a podcast. He's like, yeah, that's something I do. Like I'll do a podcast on that. You know, I'm like, are you gonna be talkative? Because we've had you on a couple times, and it's like you're just kind of staring out and like looking at the walls because he's just not a big attention span. And we get done with the podcast. He goes, I don't think I've ever talked so much in my whole life. Like, and then you sent that April Fool's thing yesterday. And he's like, finally, something else I can contribute to, another podcast.
Yeah, he could be on the Border Indoors podcast as an noted endorsement.
Yeah. Well, I texted Scott and I was like, what? He's like, April Fool's. I was like, oh, I gotcha. But
no, we're really changing it.
I'm fine with that. So Derek, you're an avid outdoorsman, I would say. You do a lot of bow hunting, do a lot of ice fishing. You duck hunt, you goose hunt, you turkey hunt. So we're just gonna hit on a couple topics on a couple. Let's talk about how your deer hunting season was last year.
Sure. So I'll just start off with I did not shoot a deer last year. I don't know. I had a lot of opportunities. Actually, probably bow hunted more last year, more time in the stand than probably any other year that I've been bow hunting. I did a trip down to southeastern Minnesota that I do with a couple buddies every year. Reese from the Brotherhood, and then one other buddy of ours. I've been going down there 3 or 4 years. I had every single morning, 10 minutes before shooting light, I'd have 4 or 5 deer below my stand. In the 3 days I was down there, I only had one fawn come out in daylight. I passed on her. But we did a couple other hunts, a couple park hunts, limited tag park hunts and whatnot throughout the West Metro. I had I had quite a few opportunities there. Passed up on a couple spikes, a couple forks. There were 3 or 4, again, real immature fawns, which I wasn't going to shoot, but I had this same spike. He must have been living there. Must have been in his bed, but I had the same spike. Cast him 4 times in 2 days. It's a 3-day hunt, and so Sunday was the last day of hunt. On Saturday, I said, if he comes by tomorrow, I'm gonna whack him.
Yeah, I was gonna say everybody has that conversation. You let a deer go by, and you're like, well, if he comes.
It was day 1. I had him dead to rights, 7 o'clock in the morning. 15 yards, completely broadside. I'm like, no way, dude. I'm like, day 1. I found I was scouting and I found a gigantic shed out there it was at 5 points on one side and I could barely get my hands around the base. So I'm like, there's giants out here. I'm not going to waste my tag on the opening morning, on a spike. So after watching deer run by me for 2.5 days, I told myself Sunday morning I'm shooting the first thing that comes by. and I didn't see a single deer on Sunday.
Go figure.
So,
do you normally go for bigger bucks? Are you kind of like you want the 4-year-olds, or you just kind of at what you feel at that time?
Yeah, it really depends on how I'm feeling. I'll always try to shoot a doe every year, right? So if depends on my zone. Like in this instance, I was hunting in the metro, which is unlimited does. So I had planned on emptying my quiver and just stacking does, and then I was gonna wait for a decent buck. And I guess another reason I waited is because this bow hunt was before rifle opener, so I didn't want to. Is that me?
Yeah, we're just having phone's breaking up a little bit, so we're just having a little hard time hearing you. But I think I got the gist. What?
Maybe I had my headphones in. Maybe they're dying. You want me to go on speaker here?
Yeah, that sounds way better.
That sounds really good. Yeah.
What? You don't use a Matthews. You went off on your own thing, and you got a what was it, an Elite?
Yep.
How do you like that?
I like it. All the big name brand bows, they pretty much I don't know. I shot the Elite, I shot the Matthews, I shot the Hoyt, I shot the PSE, I shot the Bowtech. And when you're shooting these bows in archery shops, it's a dry bow, there's no sights, there's no no quiver attached, no stabilizer. So they all pretty much shoot the same. They all have the same amount of vibration for the most part. Some are a little bit better than others. The reason I picked Elite is I felt that the back wall was the strongest that I'd felt on any of the other flagship bows.
What do you mean the back wall?
I draw 70 pounds, and when I'm at full draw, I almost feel like I have to push the bow forward to let down. You know what I mean? Like the back wall, the let off is so. It's got, man. I can't remember what exactly it is. I'm sure it's,
a lot
at least 30 or 40% let off or whatever. I don't even know. I can't remember, but it's crazy. I mean, if I need to let down and not shoot that arrow, I have to almost push the arrow forward to let down.
So that doesn't have anything to do with your draw length either, huh? Like you overextended?
Nope. I perfectly measured and set up my draw length. So,
I think it was is it the boat? One of the I think it might have been Bowtech had like 80 or 90% let off.
Oh, right.
So when you're talking about your let off, when you pull your bow back, if you have a deer, you can pull that thing back whenever, and you can hold it for a long time. Like you don't have the strings pulling, your arm's not getting tired. You're comfortable.
Yeah, that 80 to 90 number sounds more like it. I was thinking it in my head, I'm like, holy crap, that's a huge number. I don't want to throw that out. But yeah, I mean, it definitely feels like it's 90% let off. Like it has to jump out of your hand,
I want to shoot a bow like that. Seems like I'm always fighting, and it's like, okay, I got about 4 seconds, 5 seconds max to pull back, and if it's cold, it's even less.
Right.
To try to get this where I want it, and then you have all the other things going on with you're shaking because you're looking at a rack, or there's just a deer sitting in front of you, and you're trying to be as smooth, calm, and collect as you can, but in the inside, you're freaking out. But what kind of camo do you use for bow hunting, or do you have different camos for bow hunting and turkey hunting or duck hunting?
So yeah, I mean, I'm not brand loyal by any. Well, I would say in the past I have not really been brand loyal. I've recently switched most of my deer hunting gear to First Light.
Okay.
So I've been using First Light for, I guess, last year was my first full season. And I do have some solid colors too. Like I'll run their olive color. I forget what it actually is on their website, the name of it, but I've got their pants in an olive color and in a camo. And in turkey season, I've worn the the olive green pants, and then I'll wear a leafy suit top.
Yep.
You know.
And it seems like all them brands, like I started using Huntworth last fall.
Yep.
And the way like the pants, and I think I have I can't remember what pattern is, distribution or some weird name like that they have. And it's comfortable. Like once you spend some decent amount of money, and Huntworth isn't, expensive by all means, but to get set up for pants and a shirt, it's probably $150, $175 for both, for like a lightweight. You're comfortable all the time, and that made a huge difference. It made me a lot more comfortable. I felt like I was hidden a lot better. And I know the Brotherhood guys, they have Sitka, and you're the first person I know that has First Light, which I know Steve Ranella and all them, they preach that stuff on their show.
Yeah, that's his brand.
Yeah, that looks like a nice one.
It's really nice, and I would say, more than the main reason I like it isn't necessarily the camo pattern, which I do like the camo patterns, but the comfort is more what I'm looking for when I'm buying hunting clothes. I'm totally fine, in plain colors, not camo. I mean, I shot a deer a couple of years ago. It was 70 degrees in deer opener, and I shot a deer with my shirt off as I was sweating.
Like, that's
Rambo
hot.
style.
Yeah, I mean, I've shot deer in blaze orange. I've shot deer with bare skinned. I mean, in camo, in solid colors, in flannel. I mean, it never seems to. I mean, bow hunting in particular, I like to be camoed out just because I've never shot a deer with a bow longer than 15 yards. You know what I mean? So you're real close.
Well, yeah, wasn't it Fred Bear that said your grandpa used to shoot deer in red and black plaid? The best kind of camo was sit still.
Sitting still.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah, I believe in that. So I guess when I'm looking for hunting clothes, it's more for comfort.
Yeah.
What feels the best, what's stretchy, what's got the DWR for your water resistance, what's quiet, stuff like that.
And was this your first year trying out the saddle stand too?
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I pretty much every public land hunt I did this year, I had the saddle, and it went really well.
That makes me feel better.
Sorry, my wife
guy.
popped out. Yeah, no,
You gotta make her breakfast.
It's really well. No, she opened the door and then the kid was making a bunch of noise, so I don't want to mess up the podcast.
No, you're okay.
No, the saddle was great. I'm a bigger guy. It's 6'5". Oh my, 6'4".
Stop lying.
Depends. I mean, if you ask me, I'm 6'5". You ask my driver's license, I'm 6'4". But who do you believe?
My driver's license says I'm $175 in weight.
So,
and we all know that's
no,
bullshit.
it works great. I would say it takes a little bit to get used to. I spent a lot of time in the tree and in the front yard, just getting the hang of it. But it's quick, it's light, and it's fun. I mean, you can swing around the tree. You can stand in many different positions. It's not as comfortable as sitting in a like I have a Millennium hang on stand that I use if I'm gonna sit. It's definitely not as comfortable as that, because you can sit down and chill.
Yeah.
But for what it is, it's definitely worth it. It's just another tool.
How's the ability of taking naps?
I was just gonna ask that same question. Can you fall asleep in it safely?
I have not fallen asleep in it yet. No. I actually really don't sleep a whole lot when I'm deer hunting. I don't know. I used to when I was a kid, just because being tired and whatnot. But
So you're saying I might grow out of it at 43 years old?
You might. I don't know. I hammer about half a gallon of coffee before I do anything usually. So
Yeah, I find it.
get myself wired.
If I fall asleep, it might be for like 5 minutes. I don't know why. I just have a really hard time sleeping because I'm always there's always something to look at, a squirrel or a bird or. you know,
Usually that on
something.
a 3-day hunt or something, usually that third morning before the sun comes up is the toughest time to stay awake for me.
Yeah.
You close your eyes, you wake up and it's bright, and you're like, oh shit.
So you mentioned slamming a big bunch of coffee before you go sit out there. So the next question I would have is, do you get out of your stand and go take a leak, or you just let her fly right from the stand? Because that's been a question a lot of people have asked me.
I just let her rock right from the stand. Last year I had 2 fawns. I mean, granted they're fawns and they're not as smart, but I mean, literally walk and stood in right where I peed and was smelling it on the ground, you know, I mean, directly below me.
Right.
So it hasn't spooked anything for me. I'm sure eventually it will on a giant, and I'll hold my urine from now on. But until that happens, I'm gonna be comfortable.
Yeah, and there's that Wired to Hunt podcast. He talks about how he pees and scrapes and stuff, and that they don't know the difference. I don't know if people. I'm sure if you did a big enough search, you could figure it out. But I don't think it's that big. I do it all the time. I used to pee in bottles, and I'm like, I'm not carrying this freaking bottle around all day.
Yeah, I got trucker bombs too, and I started to fill them up. I'm like, fuck it, I just dumped them out of my window of my stand.
Yeah, like screw it, and it stinks.
Remember back too when Reese had that picture of that wolf coming through and walked right through his scrape that he peed in. I remember seeing that on the video, the wolf really changed his attitude once he got a whiff of that too.
Yeah.
He just kind of ran off. So
Smelled another alpha.
yeah, exactly. So the thing
Smells
is
all the extra protein he had sitting in his pee.
But sometimes the curiosity gets the best of them too if they do get a whiff of that. So,
well, we'll move on to the next thing. Ice fishing. I know that you ran into some guy out on Maple Lake ice fishing tournament, and
yeah, how'd that go for you?
Some bearded guy comes rolling up on a wheeler and goes, "Hey, I know your last name."
Hams in his hand and all.
Yeah. I'm like, well, I recognize your hat. So yeah, we chatted. No, that was a fun tournament. Ice fishing was good. I mean, I've got an ice castle. I know we did the ice castle episode. So my wife and I, we love it. I mean, we spend every weekend pretty much Friday night to Sunday at around noon ice fishing. So it's good quality family time. I've got a couple spots that are pretty much automatic. As soon as the sun goes down, we'll start hammering crappies. I usually get, I think there was maybe one night in this particular spot through the season where I didn't pull a limit.
Wow.
So it's good. Pretty much, yeah. As far as fish, no walleyes this year. I didn't even target any walleyes. We just pan fished, and then actually I did target. We went to Mille Lacs one weekend and got skunked the first weekend of the year. That was when it was about 20 below for 2 weeks straight. Everyone, the fishing report was just horrible. No one was catching fish up on Mille Lacs. So we got skunked, and then from then on, we just ran tip-ups, caught some northerns down back around home, and then crappies.
So you mentioned before some of those go-to lakes that you have. As soon as you get out there, and as soon as the sun goes down, you start hammering the crappies. I don't want you to give away the lake or anything, but is this a real heavily populated lake with fish houses out there?
Yeah, it's Minnetonka. I mean, I don't care about all that. It's Lake Minnetonka.
Okay.
So there's a ton of houses, a ton of different bays. It's a massive lake. There's tons of spots, tons of crappies. I mean, every species you can think of. And I just happened to find a hole that crappies go down to when the sun goes down.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Sometimes you get on some of these lakes and they're real super, heavily populated with ice castles out there, and you can still hammer them. I had a couple nights like that, and I just thought if we're hammering the crappies like this and everybody else is, how many fish are going to be left in this lake? Because it just seems like you're just fishing out the lake.
Yeah.
Yeah. It took me a full season before I found the spot of fishing Lake Minnetonka. And what I was doing was just driving around, going to those mini towns of fish houses and dropping down and, fishing. I mean, I was just, that's how I used to scout lakes before I had any type of, map or whatever on my phone where I could see transitions and depths and whatnot. I used to just drive around and fish where everyone else was fishing. And for the most part, what I've found out there is those big pods of people are usually fairly shallow and they're catching sunnies, so
Yeah.
I drop down, catch a couple dinks and not really anything worth keeping. And then I found my spot, and it's funny because probably about 500 to 1,000 yards. I mean, pretty good ways away from this pod, and the only fish house out there. It looks like, I'm sure people drive by and be like, "What's this idiot doing? Fishing alone out here?" Well,
I've done
out there
the same.
slaying crappies.
Yeah, I've done the same thing before, where you find a big city of houses, and I try to get out on the outskirts of them somewhere. Like if you see that big pot of houses and you look on your map on your phone, if you can find like another pocket that's just a few hundred yards away or whatever, it seems like that's kind of the spot to go to, because then there's a lot less pressure on the fish. I don't know. It seemed to work for me a few times, but sometimes, you just think, you're just this idiot out in the middle of nowhere, and everyone's like, "What the hell's that guy doing out there?" There's no fish out that way, but
Right.
it works sometimes.
And you're about the only guy I know that actually fishes Minnetonka. I stay away from it because I don't know the lake, and I'm afraid with all the bays and the streams, and you always hear about people trying to drive through a channel and they go in, and I'm not comfortable with that lake. And it is a big body of water, but it's not, it's not a Mille Lacs. It's just a bunch of bays. It's a bunch of little tiny lakes kind of combined that goes through pretty much the whole metro. Everyone talks about it.
Yeah, I don't drive under any overpasses or anything like that. I'll find a bay and I'll get onto that bay from the boat launch or dive off. A lot of these little bays, people are just driving right off the sides of the road to, onto the ice. But I'm never going to be the first guy to drive on a lake. That's how I've always been. So, if I see, 3/4 ton pickups and wheelhouses out there, I know I'm fine. But whatever bay I'm going to fish, I don't leave the bay. I'm not going to hit any channels or anything like that.
So cool. You had a good ice fishing season, and now it's looking at Scott. I know Derek. Sorry, that
you thought I was going to be the one doing that.
That you can't see Scott, but it's probably the first time I'm happy that we live in Minnesota, because on Scott's screen behind his window, all you see is just snow. It's just snowing like it looks like a blizzard. And here it's supposed to get to 50 degrees today.
It's not sticking.
It's snowing by you right now?
No,
Yeah.
in Appleton, yeah.
It's snowing by me, but
Wisconsin.
it's not sticking. It's a lot of snow, but
Or Scott's in Wisconsin. Gotcha.
it's not sticking. It's whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to see, though. And we're just like, oh, it's going to be nice today. I got a wedding to go to this afternoon. We've dealt with a lot of cold weather the last week. We had that nice spring 60 degrees and everyone was out and about, and then all of a sudden it dropped again, and we're just like, son of a bitch.
I wish that weekend never even happened.
Oh,
what a teaser.
you can see everyone's just like their mind and all their motivation just went straight down to the tank. Everyone's just like, I'm so tired of this. I'm done.
And that 60-some degree day too, Jay and I went out for a walk in a park in Monticello, and actually a while back, I don't know if any of you guys remember this, but I posted a video or shared a video of a guy doing like a kids fishing video showing different shapes, colors, augers, bunch of stuff like that. I ran into that guy out in that park that day. He's local here, and they're filming something about like anything to do with like transportation or wheels. So they had like rollerblades, bikes, and a unicycle and all that stuff out there. So I ended up stopping and talking to that guy that day. That was actually kind of fun. But found out the lake that they were out on fishing was out on BB. So kind of neat to see something local like that happening.
Yeah. And so are you going turkey hunting this year, Derek?
Yep.
Bow or shotgun?
I'm gonna gun hunt this year. I've been turkey hunting this will be my 5th year, so 4 years in the past. I'm 2 for 4. And the reason I'm gun hunting this year, well, I guess it's just time, I mean, I've got opening weekend I have available. The only other weekend I have available is the last weekend, season F, So, if I don't shoot one during my season A, then the state says I can still hunt season F. I'm like, well, that works perfectly. So figured I may as well maximize my opportunity to harvest the turkey and just go with a gun. And honestly, I've shot both my birds with a bow, but I prefer to gun hunt turkeys just because of the way I like to hunt them. I would rather locate them and go after them than set up a blind and a couple decoys and wait for them to come to me. Not that you can't walk the woods and sling one, shoot one with an arrow, but it's a lot harder when you've got to draw a bow and there's a turkey and you're, on ground level sitting at the base of a tree,
Oh, so yeah. Cause I did a little bit of scouting yesterday and, you're walking through the woods and I was shed hunting and all of a sudden, like I just start hearing stuff, and I'm like, God, is there a bunch of deer in here? And then all of a sudden, like through the thicket, you just see like heads just boop 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 boop, and then off they go. Like you can't. I know they have really good eyesight, and then I tried to sneak up on them because Seth's like, oh, send me a video. I want to see if there's any toms, and I'm like, oh, there's some pretty nice toms in here, and I just couldn't get close enough. It seemed like as soon as I was trying to get close enough, within like 40 yards, they just V-line some other direction, and there's like probably 20, 30 turkeys. I'm like, with that many eyes, there's no way I'm going to get close. Once one starts moving, the others just follow. But that's nuts. Usually if that happens during the season, you can watch them run to the next county. I mean, they're gone. That's the tough part. They got really, really good eyesight. Yeah, this will be my first year turkey hunting, so I'm actually really excited. I'm gonna try bow. So I've been practicing. When you shot your turkeys, did you go for the headshot or did you go for the body?
No, I went body. Both of them were body shots.
Yeah, I'm kind of.
I think Reese when he shot his? Didn't he smoke that one in the face or something with a bow?
Yeah, I think he shot it.
He wasn't even using schwackers I think it was a hard shot. He dropped it instantly, but I think he hit him in the heart or something crazy, if I remember right. They've got the decapitator broadheads that you can tune perfectly and shoot at the head and snap their head off, but pretty sure he was using just a broadhead and dropped it instantly. With both the turkeys I shot, I had to run them down.
Throw your bow at it to get it to move.
I just dove out the blind and started running after it, and finally they're really wounded, so I run them down and then just stand on the neck till they expire. I mean, you don't want to lose them.
No, you hear stories of people that do that all the time, where they'll hit a turkey and it's, you don't know if you hit them or not, because if they're poof up so much that there's only certain areas that you're supposed to shoot at. Like if you're supposed to shoot them like in the butthole if it's like behind you, because it'll hit the vitals, or you're supposed to aim like above the leg and beard height up and try to find where like the leg is and aim for like those two spots. You can shoot them in the head, and they have a really small like organ cavity. So if you don't hit
the size of a softball.
Yeah, if you don't hit it, you're screwed. Like you have to be a really good shot. And that's why I've been going back and forth. Like I've been trying to fine tune the bow. Cause I'm like, well, maybe if one comes in, I'll try a headshot. But then all of a sudden I know I'll freak out and be like, I'm going body. Be like, someone get ready to run.
You're aiming for
Right.
something the size of a quarter at
Yeah.
20 yards away.
Oh, that would
Yeah,
be.
if they are fanned out, puffed up, facing right at you, basically what I've never been blessed with a perfect shot like that, but right where the neck meets the body, once they're fanned out, is supposedly you can go straight back into the vitals from there. And it looks like an easy shot because when they're fanned out and puffed up, they're massive. But you could shoot and give that sucker a haircut and never even hit its body. You know?
So you don't
You
want to
gotta
shoot
be
his
on.
beard off of him.
So I got
Right.
2 questions before we let you go. I know you got to get going here. What is question number 1? What is a tip that you have for a new turkey hunter like myself who's never been out? What's something that I should know right out of the gate?
I would say number 1, I would say that just because a tom stops gobbling, let's say you're calling and he stops gobbling, that doesn't mean he's gone. I mean, I've been in a calling match with a tom and he seems hung up, right?
Yep.
So I'm calling and he'll fire back. But I can tell he's not getting closer, right? So he's hung up. He's not coming any closer than maybe 80 yards or however far away he is. And I can't see him. I can just hear him. Maybe he's back behind me in the woods. This is a scenario that actually happened to me. And I stopped calling. And then he would be back there every now and then, boom, he'd fire off and gobble. And then I stayed quiet. And I think his curiosity just got the best of him. And it took probably a half hour, but he popped out, came out of the woods into the field looking for me, the hen,
How did it feel to have that gobble? Like that first time when you hear that and you're just like, oh shit, like was it like deer hunting? Like did your heart start, pumping and you're just like your adrenaline take a hold of you because they sound so cool when they're sitting there gobbling.
It's pretty cool. I don't think it gets me as fired up as deer hunting, but it's cool because it's interactive. I would say the first 2 or 3 times, you get in a calling match with a tom, you're like, this is freaking sweet. And it always is sweet to hear them gobbling. But after a while, you just kind of like get in that kill zone. You're like, okay, one gobbles and now you're locked in. You're like, all right, let's get to work and get this sucker killed,
Yep. And I guess the second question I had was what did you do with your turkey after? Did you brine it, smoke it? Like I'm not a big turkey fan in general, and I've heard if you don't do it right with wild turkey, it's not going to taste good at all.
Right. So I've taken on both the turkeys I killed, I breasted them out, and then I took both the legs, both hindquarters. So you had the drumsticks and the thighs. The drumsticks are almost non-existent on a wild turkey, but there's some meat there. Gave those to my dad. He brined them and then smoked them, and they were awesome. But you could also slow cook those. I would recommend slow cooking the legs. Just put them in a crock pot with some, whatever seasoning you want, and then some broth. Slow cook them. As far as the breast, I actually just I pulled out a breast from my last kill last night. Pounded it real thin, and I crushed up some pork rinds.
Ooh.
Breaded it in the crushed up pork rinds, and then fried it. So I made like a turkey schnitzel.
Get a little bit of fat in there with the pork rinds and
yeah. Well, you need the fat. It's so lean,
And that's also what's nice.
Great.
What's nice about wild game is it's all like we had Tim came over this morning. We're doing a morning podcast, and I had some back straps I took out earlier this week. So I, texted him and I was like, hey, come over a little bit earlier. I'm going to cook up some back straps and we'll have some steak and eggs for breakfast. And we were talking and they tasted good, but like, I'm not a good steak cooker. And we were talking about earlier is there's a fine line between, I think it was Corey or Seth said, if you overcook it, that's when the gamey taste came out. And you could taste it because I just did it on the stovetop and a cast iron. And the spots that were well done versus when you kind of got to the back of the back strap chunk where it was red, the red stuff tasted
it was awesome.
way better. And you're just like, oh, this tastes like shit. I ruined it. And all of a sudden you get a piece of pink in there. And you're like, okay, now this tastes freaking good. And I just did a little Lowry's on it, nothing fancy. I didn't do the S&P and flour and all the stuff Seth does.
Right.
We were talking about that too. Like, there's no fat. It feels so good to eat it because you're just like, oh, I know what I'm eating right now isn't gonna, give me gut rot or make me feel like crap.
Yeah, it's the best thing I ever did was I invested in a electronic meat thermometer. It's $15 from Amazon. Because I hate ruining wild game.
Yep.
So like this, I'm glad I had it last night. I'm frying up this turkey and it's hard to tell when it's done. So I just stick the probe in there. It's an instant readout as soon as it hits 165, just like you would cook chicken breast too. I pulled it, and it's juicy. It turned out perfect. I'll do the same thing with venison because I would hate to ruin a backstrap. As soon as it hits 125 medium rare,
yep.
I'll just pull it off and let it sit. Then you're good to go. But I would definitely invest in one of those, and I use it for everything. That's great.
Well, cool. Well, thanks for coming on, Derek. I think we're gonna take a quick break, and I gotta fill up my coffee. But like to don't forget to post on the community page when you're out turkey hunting, and don't forget to go get a shirt.
That's right. You got the old pro shop going on.
Yeah, we do. But yeah, thanks for coming on again. It was fun. I haven't talked to you in forever. You always send me a picture of your daughter fishing, and it's really cool to see all that camaraderie that you and your wife are doing and bringing her into the outdoors. And you're not sitting on the couch by any means. You're always out and about doing something with your dog or with your little girl. So that's really cool. Nice work.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So thanks for having me.
Yep.
Talk to you guys soon.
Yeah.
Right,
We'll talk to you later.
See you guys. Bye.
Buddy, what do you guys say? Take a little break here.
I just took a break.
Oh, hold on. What's that?
I just took a break.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But I gotta go get fill up my cup of coffee, so I need to take a break. So
All right.
we'll be right back. Should leave it going. I really like taking these little breaks. Oh! Yeah.
I gotta order my stuff.
I do too. That looks like a nice shirt.
You like that?
Oh yeah. How's it feel? How's it fit?
Oh, it feels so good on my skin. It fits good.
You putting the lotions on your skin?
Yeah, I didn't want to get the hose again. No, I got the premium shirts.
Seth
Seth
go
got
ahead.
the standard, and they look good.
He said he looked at the tag. I just talked to him yesterday. He said they do shrink. They're 100% cotton. So he said they do shrink a little bit, but they didn't shrink like horrible. He's like, oh, it's not too bad. You just put your arms in your shirt and you just, stretch her out a little bit. But I'm like, yeah, for you that doesn't have a big gut.
I got, because when we set up the store, I went and got a few things, and I got like the lightweight sweatshirt, and I got the extra large of a lightweight sweatshirt, and my 16-year-old skinny ass son, it fits him perfectly. It might even be a little small on him. I couldn't even get my arms in my head in, much less pull it over my fucking fat body. But
it's like an extra large youth or something like that.
Yeah, extra large for a baby. But so I gave that to him, and then I got the premium T-shirt that I'm wearing, and I threw it in the wash. Didn't shrink. It's fine.
Nice. I think.
And now I ordered the sweatshirt. There was the standard sweatshirt, and then I got a regular shirt for my oldest son, and another premium shirt for me, and those will be here this week sometime.
Yeah, I'm gonna order a couple of shirts, and I think I'm gonna order a sweatshirt. I might do the heavy sweatshirt. Although I did, like Seth said, he did the lightweight sweatshirt, and he ordered all his stuff in a large, and he said if he would have got an extra large, lightweight, he said it would have fit probably pretty good. So
Yeah,
I might
the
order
lightweight is nice. Alex
Yeah.
came out. I picked him up from high school yesterday. He comes walking out, and he says, "Oh, it's so soft and comfortable." He said, "It's such a nice sweatshirt." They just run small, so if you order from the store, just watch sizes. The premium shirts, which they run these sales all the time, because like the store isn't our store. We go through a company, and they run these sales all the time. And so whenever I put up a new design, it's automatically on sale for like 2 days. But then like every weekend they run a sale, and it's the same sale. So the standard t-shirt goes down to like $13, and the premium goes down to like 21 or something.
Nice.
Otherwise it's like 27. And it's nice. You know, I don't think $20 is too much to pay for a t-shirt, especially a nice t-shirt. And you're going to wear a shirt anyway, unless you're butch out hunting. You know, why not get a nice shirt that's got a nice design on it? And we'll keep coming up with new designs. Every couple months, I'll knock out a few new ones. We put 9 up there now just to see what people are interested in. And I'm recording the video, so for the people who have video, hang on, let me do
It's
this.
cool. It's cool because I go on there and I'm looking at that page, and I'm like, okay, I want, like this shirt, this sweatshirt, and then all of a sudden I'm like, well, maybe I want this one, or maybe I want this. Like I can't decide what one I want. Like I like the Tim Beard Border Outdoors podcast. That one, I really like that. I love the Sasquatch one because everyone
Which
knows
one?
the one with it in the trees. That one right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
With it's walking in the silhouette, because I think that's gonna be like my new bow hunting shirt, because that everyone knows I get freaked out when it gets dark. But I
It's
do
not gonna
also-
attack. The Sasquatch won't get you because it's like, oh, you're wearing a shirt with me
I'm
on
one
it,
of you.
so
I'm
Yeah.
one of you.
you're a
You're
fan. That's fine.
Yeah, and I really do like we haven't done much with the logo. Is just the Border Outdoors, like just the words. I really like
Oh,
that. Yeah, I really like it. It's just
Yeah.
plain. You can read it. You can put it on pretty much anything color wise, and it looks great. Plus, I mean, with Nick from Brotherhood, he went on there and he's like, I can't believe how many different colors
Oh yeah.
of shirt that you can get,
Yeah. There's a lot of them.
because
wow, look
You're
at all
not
the
limited to-
stickers.
yeah, and the stickers are awesome. And that's a cool thing too, is I know Dylan Butcher bought the fishing one. He bought a couple of those fishing ones because he's gonna
I
put them
bought
on his
one.
ice castle. Yep.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I never noticed how many stickers had sold.
I didn't realize on the website that you could change it to stickers and see everything in stickers. The only way I was going in is clicking on each design
So
and
was
then
I.
changing it up.
Yeah,
So I like
You
this.
could get Tim. You can get magnets too, so you can get your beers in a magnet for the fridge.
Yep. I like that. Now,
Yeah.
now I'm thinking and looking at these stickers. It'd be nice if they made like a 3 or 4 foot wide sticker and put that on the back of the ice castle.
I know the sizes aren't very big,
No.
and I was like, oh man, it'd be kind of cool to get a big border sticker and put it on the back of the truck,
Yep.
or a magnet, and every time you go on a hunting trip, throw it on the side of the pickup, or the car or whatever I'm driving at that day. But no, Scott, that's awesome. Nice work. That was super cool to see that now we have a pro shop, because we've been talking about shirts and apparel pretty much since we started. And like everything else, you kind of just took it over, and it's like, all right, well, I'm done talking about it, so here we go, I'm doing it. And then you just fucking did it, and it worked out really well.
Well, we had
Yeah.
all these other discussions too, like other options, like going through another company and then we would have to have stock and all this stuff. So we have to, have all these on hand, and now we're shipping everything out. This way, it's just all done for us, and it's a lot easier, and people can choose what they want. They just one-stop shop. You got everything right there. So yeah, nice job, Scott.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, well, and the nice thing is the t-shirts are made to order. We don't have to have any inventory. The designs were all our designs. So every time somebody buys a shirt, the podcast does get a piece of that.
Yep.
And so it helps to support the podcast. So t-shirt sales so far have helped to cover our overhead and things like that. So it's a great way to support the podcast if you like it, to buy shirts or stickers or whatever. It's a great way to support the podcast. And it's nice stuff. I can only speak to the premium t-shirts so far, but the premium t-shirts are really nice. The stickers look nice. I'd love to hear, it looks like a lot of people bought stickers. I'd love to hear how they're doing with those. And when my stuff shows up this week, I'll let you know how the heavier weight sweatshirt is.
Yeah, and you're kind of a more of like I don't care like my shirt if it shrinks or if it's $5, whatever, but you like to wear, like you like to invest in like your clothes. Like you wear the Life is Good shirts.
Yep.
And you want to wear something that's comfortable. You want to wear something that's not, you look at it and you go, well, that's cheap. So it's actually really cool that premium shirts is like, you were excited. You're like, these shirts are awesome. Like this is exactly what I wanted. Like it's comfortable, it doesn't shrink. I can wear it multiple times. It's not going to wear out, right away and get all cracked. And that's really cool that they had everything on there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nice. I like to buy nice stuff. And I mean, say what you will, but I've got t-shirts that I bought 5 years ago that still look brand new. So you want to buy a $10 t-shirt every year? Or do you want to buy a $30 t-shirt and have it last you 5 years? In the end, my shit is actually cheaper, just because I bought something that lasts. So these premium shirts are nice, and the whole store looks nice. I'm pretty proud of it. I hope people go buy stuff and enjoy it.
And where do they get the link or how to? Because I know there's a little bit of kind of a difficulty with the site when you add something to the cart and then you're trying to go back to add something else to the cart. So.
Oh yeah, it's a pain in the ass. Well, hang on, let me. So if you're on the site and for example, you want to get a T-shirt, and you go and you say, I'm gonna pick out the. Well, I defaulted to lady shirts for me. I can't say, but I guess I'm gonna lose my man card. So you go and you say, I'm gonna add to cart. Okay, it says add size. Fuck off. It says add a size, so add to cart, blah blah blah, and then you get whatever. There's no easy way to just go back and keep shopping because you just sit in the cart. In my case, because I own the store, I just go back to my storefront. But you can always just hit the back button, and then where it says Border Outdoors here, I suppose that's for the people watching video. On each design in blue, it'll say Outdoors T-shirt designed and sold by Border Outdoors. If you click on Border Outdoors, it takes you back to the storefront.
Okay, so it'll keep building your cart up by going through that way.
Yeah, I kind of figured that out when I was messing with it. Is you add whatever T-shirt, and then it'll have like. And light blue, it'll say Border Outdoors, and you just click that again, and it'll bring you back to the main thing while keeping whatever you had in the cart. So it works off pretty good that way.
Hey, Scott, while you're in here, stay with this design with the skull. I was playing around with this the other day, and look for that army green. That actually looks really, no, the next one to the left.
Oh, army green, not whatever
John
green.
Well, I guess this is a good time to tell everybody that we're on YouTube.
If you're watching, you're probably watching us on YouTube.
Yeah. We're going to release the podcast on our normal days. And then we're also going to, we have a YouTube channel where there's an episode from about a month ago with Tim, Scott, and I, and we're kind of playing around with it. But we're learning as we go with the video. So if you guys want to go, I guess, see our pretty faces, you can go on there and take a little clip. Take two. Take a quick glimpse of, the podcast studio and everything else. Tim got me a nice birthday present with a banner behind me, and friends of mine, Courtney and Cody, got me a neon sign that says Border Outdoors. You can't really see it that good on video, but the room's coming together, and it's a lot of fun. Like we've made some serious headway in the last month compared to other things. So.
Yeah, when I agreed to do all this, I always said I had a face for radio, but now you're saying we're on video.
Well, and even worse, Tim, your face is damn near on a shirt. That
know, I've
beard
seen
is your
that.
beard.
If I buy that shirt, you're not going to see much of that shirt, though. That's the problem.
It'll look like your beard's just another 6 inches longer.
Yeah.
And that's why we've been all hitting the gym, so that when you see us
Yeah.
on video, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But so cool. And you can find the links for the Border store on our Facebook page. I think you posted on the community page and also the website, correct?
Yep, there's a link at borderoutdoors.com. If you go there, you can click the link for the store.
Okay. Well, let's move on. I'm sure people are kind of tired of us looking at shirts and all this other things. Spring is in the air now. I think we're finally here. I went out yesterday, did a little turkey scouting / shed hunting. I was able to find my first shed, which was really cool. It's got like a little goofy brow tine and curves a little bit, and it's probably it'll be a nice buck next year for sure. He's probably about 2-year-old. I'm guessing 8-pointer, just judging on the size of this one. I couldn't find the matching set, but that was some much needed time in the woods, and it was a lot of fun to go around and get to the areas and see all the sign, the rubs. See all the turkeys running around and trying to sneak up on them. It felt like it was almost hunting season again. So that was a lot of fun yesterday. I had a good time in the woods. I know Scott, you guys been getting hit with some bad weather, like I said earlier, and there's always a big influx of people around your area this time of year because of the Fox River and the walleyes.
Yeah, I mean that's happening now. Even though we don't really have bad weather. We have sketchy weather because it gets warm and then it gets cold and then it gets warm and then it gets cold. I was saying before we started, the channel outside of my office window here has thawed and frozen like 3-4 times in the last 2 weeks. You wouldn't walk on it; it's not that frozen. But up by Green Bay in the bay along the Fox River, there's plenty of people fishing, but you can't keep any of the fish really. It's weird. It's a weird time of year because generally as the fish are spawning, you'd go get on the Wolf River or down by me on the Fox River, and those are good eaters and they all fall in the standard limits. But up in Green Bay, you could only keep like one trophy fish.
Yeah.
Like the deal is up there when you can catch one fish over 28. You can keep one fish over 28. That's all you can keep. So, I mean, the whole bay is just lined with boats, and they're all catching fish. But a lot of the folks want to get some eaters, get some fish for the freezer, things like that. And the rivers down by, it's just too cold, and they haven't started running yet. But this week it's supposed to start hitting the 50s. Last year no exaggeration, we had the boat out 30, 50 times by now, fishing. And Friday, I had a work thing, so I couldn't go, but my buddies Eagle and Seth went out and they didn't catch shit. But it was the second time. The first time was a week ago. They put the boat in the water. Second time was Friday, and they didn't see shit. And on the way upriver, it's normally no wake, but this time of year they don't really mess with that. So they just blasted upriver. Coming back, they had to go slow because they were dodging ice chunks.
Oh man.
And so, it's just this whole year, ice fishing, spring fish, everything. It's just such a sketchy ass year from the weather and from everything else. It's just tough to get out, but it's looking like 50s this week. The water should warm up. The fish should start running, and we'll get out and we'll get some walleyes.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people go up, towards the Green Bay because they want to catch. It's like a really, when they're spawning, it's like anything else. They're hungry. Now and right after they spawn too, so you can get them big walleyes. It's a good chance to get, especially in Green Bay, you can get a 30-incher. You can get them 29s. You can get them all the time, and there's a bunch of YouTube videos of people going out there right now. But once it starts getting warmer, like you said, I could see there being a huge influx of people, and you'll be able to. I want to see that video, like you always say, where you can walk from boat to boat to boat, all the way from
Oh,
one
yeah.
shoreline to the other.
Yeah, there's if Green Bay has suburbs, there's a suburb of Green Bay called De Pere. Many jokes, like it's called De Pere because when the first guy found it, they said, "Hey, it's Deep Pier." It's stupid.
That is hilarious.
You're a dad.
Exactly.
But yeah, the Fox River, as it flows through the pier, is just lined with boats, and you barely get by the walleye run, and then you get all the boats out in the bay, just outside of Green Bay and up near Door County that are muskie fishing, and then smallie fishing really starts. So there's a lot of good fishing coming. I'm hoping to get into the bay in June again this year for muskie and smallie fishing. So we'll see.
And I know right now, kind of like Green Bay, Rainy River, Lake of the Woods. I've seen what I would think that there's people fishing it right now. But I don't know. I feel like there's videos from last year because there's no ice on the river, and I know there was like 4 feet of ice up there, and it hasn't been that warm. I know a lot of people are still going to Lake of the Woods for northern fishing. Paul, my uncle, your guys' brother-in-law, they always make a big trip this year.
Yeah, I heard that got canceled though. It sounds like I think that ice did start to go out earlier this year now.
Oh, did it? I know there
Yeah.
was videos of the amount of water on the ice was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, that was crazy
it was-
to see.
Oh, it was. I would not want to go on that lake right now. But otherwise, if the ice hasn't gone off, or if it is going off, Rainy River's huge for walleyes. The you can go up there for sturgeon fishing and sturgeon. I don't know why I'm
Sturgeon.
saying spurgeon.
I didn't want to correct you because I was
Minnesota
like, maybe I
Wild.
just don't know, but it sounds like you're saying it wrong.
No, I was thinking for some reason the Wild have been doing good, so I've been thinking of the player. But
Yep.
you can go up there and fish for them. Look up for the regulations for the season for that. I'm getting excited.
You know, there's some guys that I know from around here, some guys that we kind of fish with. I'm not like friends with them, but I'm acquaintance. They're all going to Lake Erie walleye fishing
Oh, yeah.
in a couple of months. They asked me if I wanted to go, and frankly, it does not sound like fun. Go with a bunch of strangers? Nah, I'm outside. But also, you get late May, I think, like brown trout on the Bay of Green Bay. There's a big season for that, and you sign up with the charters to go do that kind of stuff. It sounds like a good time. There's a lot of good fishing around here, and a lot of good fishing about to start, and it's just a matter of the weather cooperating and making time to get out and do something.
Yep. And I know I've looked up and I've seen videos on YouTube on Erie, and they have a really good like hatch from a couple years ago for the walleyes. So this year is supposed to be really, really good for walleye fishing out in Lake Erie. Like the numbers are supposed to be up like I think it was like 80 or 90% from the past because of this year of fish coming up. And a lot of people are going out to Erie this year, but like you said, it's weather dependent. If you get any type of wind out there, you better be in the right boat because
I'll see if I can find it from last year because this same group of guys went last year and they were sending pictures and videos. And admittedly, most of the pictures were of the asses of the bartenders of the ladies the night after fishing. They'd go to the bar and look at this ass. And it's like, that's awesome. Stop sending fish pictures, more asses. But
and you still didn't go with.
and I still didn't go. But they sent some videos and some pictures, and it just does not look awesome. I mean, they're doing in some cases they were doing like Lindy rigging, and then what's that where you put the board on it and
the planer board.
Yeah, the planer board. They were doing a lot of that, but looking at the waves out there, and these guys are all in striker gear, and they look cold as hell out on the water, and I'm like, yeah, people I don't know. It doesn't look particularly nice, but they caught the hell out of some fish, and they saw an awful lot of nice asses. So I guess it's probably worth the trip, but I don't know. I thought
that seems like fun to me. the
Miserable? That does sound like something you do. You'd be like, we're doing this. We're doing this. Everybody shut up. We're going to stay out there till midnight. That's what you do.
No, I like that. I like going. I don't like being cold, but that's how you dress in all that nice striker gear or clam or ice armor, whatever you got. But when you start, you're cold until you get that first fish. And if you're catching fish left and right, you don't get cold.
It kind of goes away.
And you're hitting them waves. It's just another story that you'll never forget. Like, remember we went out to Erie and, we caught all them walleyes and the waves were, 3-foot rollers. We're busting through waves, but oh God, was that fun. It sucked at the time, but
looking back,
yeah,
it's always fun.
That seems like a lot of fun to me. But Tim, you didn't even, you said you and your wife said, fuck this, I'm getting out of here. And all of a sudden you're sending pictures. You're sitting down in Arizona. I'm like, what?
we had to get out of the cold for a little bit. Yeah. And the weather down there wasn't quite as nice as what we wanted. I think the warmest we ever hit was like 71 degrees because the week before we went down, we flew out and we went down like a Sunday through Wednesday. And the week before it was like 80, 85 degrees. I'm like, there we go. Perfect. But then the forecast kept showing us cooling down. And it got down. It actually, I think overnight we got into the 30s right in Scottsdale. So it was a little chilly. But then the week after we got back, it got back in the 80s, 85 or whatever. But for hiking, 70 degrees was dead perfect.
Yeah.
We had a little bit of a breeze, full sun. You started to sweat doing a little bit of hiking, but it was good weather for what we wanted to do. Our full intentions actually were to go down there and sit around the pool or a hot tub and drink all day long and do nothing. But we ended up putting on about 4 or 5 miles every single day hiking. So we hit the hot tub at night. They had an adult only hot tub that was open until like 11 o'clock at night. Went in there every night. Handful of people in there here and there. Other than that, it was usually just the two of us. So it was really kind of a nice way to relax and kind of boil ourselves after all that hiking. So yeah, it turned out to be a good trip.
I love Arizona. I'd never been to Florida. I'd never seen the ocean. It'd probably change my mind if I seen it. But every time I go to Arizona, we went down there in December, and it was that 70 degrees, that dry 70 degrees. You can wear a light sweatshirt. You can still wear shorts, your Keens or whatever sandals, and walk around. And it felt so nice. And you hear all these people, a lot of guys at work, their parents are, snowbirds, and they go to Arizona and Florida and all this. I'm like, I think I could go to Arizona. Like, I really like Arizona, just the Red Rock, the Phoenix, Scottsdale, that whole Mesa. I love that area. It's so cool. And then there's something that you found out about their driving regulations down there and alcohol.
Yeah, that actually changed a little bit of our plans. I'm not going to, condone drinking and driving, but it's not. I'd say you're fine. You go have a beer and the driver only has one beer maybe, and then you head home, or you have a sober driver. But down there, it's zero tolerance. So if you get pulled over down there, and they, like around here, cops will ask you, "You have anything to drink?" I had one beer. Down there, that's instant. You're done.
Yeah, you go to Tent Town. They tell you about Tent Town?
No.
Tent Town. I haven't heard about that one.
So Arizona, if you get a D-dub, and you're right, zero tolerance. They put you in a pink jumpsuit, and you go out in the middle of the desert, and you live in Tent Town for, I think it's 10 days, and they give you bologna sandwiches, and you work. You sleep in the desert, you work, and that's jail for D-dubs, and you get it immediately. There's no like, well, let's talk about this. Oh, first offense, like in Wisconsin, you get a D-dub. And they're like, finally, down there, they do not mess around. You get your pink jumpsuit, you get your bologna sandwich, you can go to Tent Town, and it's like the old days with like the pitchforks busting rocks. You're not doing anything good. In this case, my understanding is you work in Tent Town, you work on the highway system. But
wow,
like there's no messing around. Hey, were you drinking? Yep. Here's your suit. Let's go.
Wow. Now, is this still go on your record and all that, or is it just you go there for 10 days and that's your punishment? That's it. No fine, no anything like that.
I mean, it's another state, so I don't know how that really goes. I mean, I believe it's still a felony, so technically it goes, I don't think they like rip you out of the car. Like you're half in the bag and they rip you out of the car and shove a bologna sandwich in your mouth and make you undress right there on the spot. That'd be something. That's some Gestapo shit right there. But yeah, it's a felony, so it goes on your record. And I mean, you can't go to Canada if you get a felony. So I mean, it sticks with you. It's whatever. But I imagine you still have to go through the whole court system and everything to do it. But yeah, we went down there for the Brewers do spring training down there. The Twins are in the Grapefruit League down in Florida. The Brewers are in the Cactus League out in Arizona. And so we went to a bunch of baseball games and blah, blah, blah. And our original intention was to rent a car, and then you hear about Tent Town. And so we just took cabs and Ubers and stuff everywhere, which is crazy because none of these games are close to each other. And so like every day we were spending $150 on cabs and Ubers to get places down there. But cheaper than spending 10 days in the desert in a pink jumpsuit. So whatever, you just go do that. So yeah, it's nuts down there with the drinking. And,
well, I tell you what, the freeway system, I usually do run a little heavy on the throttle.
Yeah.
Couple speeding tickets here and there, but down there, I believe the speed limit was like 65 everywhere. I was doing 80, and I got my doors blown off. I don't know how many times.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm like, yeah, no wonder that's zero tolerance. They're gonna let that kind of shit go. It's like you got to be on top of your game out there to drive, and it's like. Not like, well, I know Minnesota people don't really do it either, but there's that kind of golden rule, if you're in the left lane, it's for passing or, the fast lane, basically. There you got like 4 or 5, maybe 6 lanes of traffic, and it's all random. You have no idea where the fast lane, there's no fast lane. It's just you pick a lane and you go, and then the guy speeding, he's just going to weave in and out of traffic. And I'm like, somebody's going to die out here anytime soon. Yeah. There was one time we were heading back into Scottsdale, and from Apache Junction, because that's where we did all our hiking, and there was the freeway was pretty much shut down about 5 miles ahead of us. There's a big accident, and Jane's trying to navigate me around to get around this accident so we get back to the resort, and I'm like, I kind of want to see the wreckage here, because if these cars are going that damn fast, I want to know how fucked up a car can get out here. But we didn't chance it anyway, because it was like a 5 mile backup or whatever. But you mentioned too about going down there, and it's in December. It's like 70 degrees. You're in a sweatshirt, maybe in a pair of shorts. I do remember one other time we were down there in Phoenix, and it was, I think, right between Christmas and New Year's, and it was 75 degrees, and people are walking around parkas and all that. The locals. Well, at the hotel, we ended up going in the pool that night. I think it got down to like 50 degrees or whatever, but the pool was heated and it felt good. So our family was swimming in the pool, and all of a sudden a whole bunch of people come walking by, and they're like, hey, how's the water in there? And we're like, oh, it's pretty good. It feels all right. Well, we'll be right back down. All of a sudden they come down, and we're like, where are you guys from? Oh, we're from Wisconsin. I'm like, yeah, go figure. We'll fill the pool up with Minnesota and Wisconsin people, and everybody all the locals down there are bundled up. So it's whatever you're used to. I know our blood was definitely thick when we went down there. So.
I mean, you can imagine how we would feel going down there in July when it's 125. We'd all be dying. And they'd all be like, finally, good temperature.
So, all right. Well, what do you say we wrap her up?
Sounds good.
All right. With Border Outdoors, I'm Mac.
I'm Tim.
I'm Scott.
I'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks for listening to the Border Outdoors podcast. Follow us on Instagram. Be sure to join, follow, and share the Border Outdoors Facebook community page. Please leave us a 5-star rating on Apple, Spotify, or your preferred podcast hosting site. Be sure to tune in next week to see what the guys are talking about.
Border Outdoors, Border Outdoors, here we come. Border Outdoors, Border Outdoors, here we come. Hunting and fishing, singing and kissing, here we come. So grab your guns, grab your lines, and here we come.